Lovers and friends, thank you so much for tuning into What I Want to Know Is with me, Alto Vise. Oh, guys, we've officially made it to episode 3, and my heart is just so happy. If this is the first time that you are tuning in and listening to me, thank you so much for taking the chance, and I hope that you make it through all the way to the end of this episode. Now, if you're not a newbie, thank you so much for choosing me. Thank you so much for spinning the block, and I hope you enjoyed the ride. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about the hotels. I'm talking about the hotel, motel, holiday inn. Yes, that is right. We will be exploring the hoe phase and questioning its necessity, its validity, its effects, and whether it's something that you need to go through so it doesn't become something that you feel like you're missing. Whew. Now, before we get into it, you know how we roll on this one. That's it. I got mine. Now it's time to get yours. So grab your drink, clink, clink, and let's get into this. So I was out with a group of people, and it was quite a sizable group. And we started reminiscing about the old days and our shenanigans and various things that we got up to and whether we would want to do those things again today. Seated at the table was a woman who told me that she explored. She was sharing this with the group. She partied, socialized, dated around, and then I'm sitting there and I was sheltered. I had quite the opposite experience of how she lived. I was sheltered in a very good way and in a way that I'm very thankful for right now. But I had a curfew and I didn't really date around. And I don't know if it is because I didn't want to date around or that my parents were quite strict and that just wasn't something that was on the table, you know? It wasn't something to be explored. It's something that would come later in my life. And I expressed that I wish I explored more because there are things that I feel like I should know right now and things that I was supposed to experience in my 20s, but I'm sitting here wondering about it now in my 30s. And the most prominent thing that everyone spoke of was our dating lives and what it's like dating in our 20s versus us now dating in our 30s. Some were very conservative and are only exploring now, whereas other people at the table were in serious relationships and they feel like they hadn't really missed out on anything and that's the way that they prefer to live. Others have been dating around and still are. They don't see the need to settle down or be in a committed relationship, whereas another person mentioned that the whole phase is a necessity if you are going to know what you want in, from, and of your partner. And then suddenly it felt like a record scratch and people asked the question, what is a hoe phase? So we got to Googling, doing our research, and lo and behold, the first answer that popped up was not from Webster's dictionary, but rather the Urban Dictionary, and they defined the hoe phase as a phase in your life that occurs frequently when you are fine with exploring promiscuous activities and connecting with random people. These activities do not always end in sex, but can lead to it. So we passed our drink around, had a shot, and we started talking about our different takes on the hoe phase. And then it was my turn. And the first thing I said was that the hoe phase is actually very relative and varies from person to person. How we define it, how we exercise it, how we used to view it, and the lens that we see it through today. And when I got to varsity, it opened me up in so many ways. And that was where I thought I was gonna go in. Like, I'm away from home, I'm away from my parents, I'm away from the rules. I make my own rules. Nobody knows what's happening over here. But on the contrary, I felt more isolated than ever before. And if you say, why, Altuvis? I was overwhelmed by the boys. There were just too many boys on campus. Oh my, you know what? It's true what they say. Boys are delicious. Boys are so delicious. Even today in 2023, having this conversation, the boys are delicious, but the boys are what? Dangerous. And I'm still scared of boys to this day because of varsity and just my experience of them. And also, sidebar, what is it with men in certain fields of study that have a particular stigma or, some sort of label attached to it? Because when I was in varsity, all the girls knew no engineers. We stay away from the engineering boys because that engineer's breakfast, child. I'm seeing these men in tank tops, crop tops, 6-packs, 9-packs, just packed all over with men. The second one was no men who study law. You stay away from the lawyers, away from the textbooks and the highlights and the charm and what type of pants were they wearing? Skinny cargo? I don't know. Stay away from the boys. But woo, the boy that showed me the most flames was the boy who studied marketing. Just thinking about it now and reminiscing about it, I think I have PTSD. As I'm sitting here, I'm seeing flashing lights, I'm hearing helicopters, I'm hearing bombs, I'm running through a field, I'm not okay, I'm bleeding, the wound is open and it's falling. That boy showed me so much flames, so many flames, and I feel like it was flames running concurrently. I was essentially in hell, for lack of a better term, because I found out that I was the hoe. I was the side chick. And the main issue is, they say once bitten, twice shy. I was once bitten, twice as stupid because I didn't let it happen once. He came back and I said, I forgive you. I am sorry. I am the wrong one in this thing. And then he just showed me flames again. Oh, but we live and we learn. I'd like to think I'm still friends with him. He's doing very, very well. But never again. Never, ever, ever again. With that being said, I felt like I lived out my whole phase when I was chatting to two men at the same time. I was talking to one about breakfast, confirming dinner for the other. One is getting me flowers, the other is getting me something else, and I felt so dirty. I felt like I was emanating and living my baddest life. No one could touch me. I felt like I'm that girl, and I was peak co-phasing. And on the opposite side, I had a friend who had multiple sexual partners, but they were comfortable. They were being safe. They knew what they were doing. And I sat back and it made me feel like I haven't lived. I felt inexperienced in this life thing in relation to how others have lived and how other people are still living. And then I drew up a table with things that I agree with and things that I don't agree with when it comes to the hoe phase. Now, what I do agree with is transparency, especially if we're going to be intimate, especially if people are having sex with one another. We need transparency in the hoe phase. I also agree with it when I know and I'm clear about what I want from it. And I 100% agree with it when there are boundaries in place so that I'm protected. Because I'm the only person that I'm in control of. I don't know where you came from before you saw me. I don't know where you're going to after you see me. I don't know who you're texting on the side, who you're making promises to. So as long as there are boundaries in place where I'm protected, I say, let's rock. However, I disagree if we're going to be lying and playing people. I disagree if we're going to be messing with people's minds and emotions, making empty promises, stringing people along. No. But I 100% disagree when you make me look like a damn fool in the streets because now I'm the sad and I didn't know about it. And sitting and reflecting on the conversation now, that is what sparked this episode. And I also wondered if there is a place for the hoe phase in today's society. Again, this is not just about sex, but how we move in our dating lives and our love lives and how this phrase actually carries weight and what it comes with. The first thing I would say is the labels. Here you have people who have or have had multiple phases, the whole phase, and they're being labeled as fast, cheap, oh, you're a whore, oh, this one's a bitch. And then you have people who don't really desire it, and you're being called a prude. Oh no, you're stuck up. Oh no, you're a bari, for lack of a better term, because you don't want to try things, you don't want to explore things. I believe that no one can call you out of your name and label you as something if you can stand for it. Absolutely no one. You can't make me feel ashamed of my past and my present when I own it. Shame on you. Oh no, baby, that can't be me. I can't have lived life and had certain experiences that I stand for, that I can say, yes, that's me. Yes, I did that. Yes, I will do it again. And then you coming out from the left field calling me all sorts of names and me feel ashamed and crawl in a hole? No, 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 no. And then there's social media. And we're constantly seeing chats and conversations about people who say that they just don't care. Oh no, they don't care. People are selfish and self-absorbed, almost void of the desire to open up, to learn a person and explore with them. Because that's looked at as boring. Oh no, that's corny. Oh no, we don't care to invest in committed relationships because they know it won't work out. So why do we waste our time in the first place? And there are various effects of the hoe phase. I would say one of the effects is emotional insecurity versus you getting it out of your system. Now, when you become emotionally insecure, you essentially got the sharp end of the stick. You end up not trusting people, not being able to maintain and enjoy relationships because you're over there questioning yourself. What am I lacking? Am I the only one? You end up sabotaging a potentially great situation. And then you have the people who got it out of their system. And they'll say that they're not tempted to relive that part of their lives or even step out when they're in relationships. They know what they want. They can be intentional when it comes to who they choose, what they choose, when they choose, and how they navigate this thing. But then there are also illnesses, STDs, STIs, because we're not disclosing that we're itching or we don't know that we're itching. But what is the reason for actually having a hoe phase? Whether it's one, whether it's multiple, I think we're curious. Curiosity is a thing. It's a different beast. And depending on what's created and how you feed it, it could turn out to be something very, very dangerous. It could also be just wanting to live on the edge, having a taste of something that you've been denied or something that you think is unattainable, but just saying that I did it. You could also be single and sitting there saying that, hey, I'm not hurting anyone, so why not? You could be exploring all people in all ways. You could be seeking validation. You could say, man, I had a hoe phase because I'm young. I had a hoe phase because I'm old. And again, it's very relative. But this hoe phase, or the idea of the hoe phase, has been around for ages. And I wonder who actually was the first hoe on earth? Who started the trend? We know who's continuing it, but who was the first hoe? And this phase is disguised as so many things. I'm looking at the dad with more than one family in different locations. Where you're sitting there thinking, oh, best father in the world, or damn, my father's absent, but you're the second family, baby. You're the second family. That's that. Daddy is currently in his whole phase. That auntie that got attention from many men and she entertained it. Oh no, hoe phase. That sneaky link you've got, baby. Hoe phase. When we throw a back, way back on this Thursday, the days of Mix It, that was hoe phase. But BBM, peak hoe phase, where you could be dedicating a song to somebody, but it's for everybody. Everybody thinks you're talking about them. Ooh, undercover lovers, hoe phase. And all these examples that I just mentioned include exploration of activities and connecting with random people. For some people, it started and ended in the streets. For others, it went from the streets to the sheets. And they're still there. And with that being said, what I want to know is the hoe phase really necessary? Or are some of us using the term to be sexually and emotionally careless? I really want to hear from you guys. Just give it to me. I want it all. I want the unpopular opinions. I want the questions. I need answers myself. Please let me know. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I think my drink is even hot right now, the way I got into this. But thank you for listening, for clicking this episode and taking a chance on me. And I ask you to please like, please share, please comment, please give a follow. And with that being said, cheers from me. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye.